The bosses are watching me closely this week because with the draft, it's a stressful time here at Chat Sports, and so I need your help. To get them off my back early here, let's get 50 subs on this video. That way, if they see that number, they're going to be happy to start off the week. And I don't know about you, I want to keep my bosses happy so they're not unhappy with me. We got a good show for you today. Hit that subscribe button. Let's roll here on the Chiefs Report. What to do with this wide receiver room? What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? I'm your host, Jace Andrews. We do appreciate you hanging out with us. And well, the wide receiver position has been somewhat of a question mark for about a year now, but there continues to be less and less panic from this man right here, Brett Veach, even saying that they trust Kadarius Toney and that he is one of their more explosive wideouts in the past couple days. Well, I still feel as though we need to explore how to get more, because with Rashee Rice, there is some holes that need to be filled. Now, there's three ways you can get a wide receiver as of right now, especially with the draft coming up here in just a couple days. You draft one. It's the first option, the easiest one. You can sign one, like OBJ. I know Tyler Boyd's still available. There's a couple of guys you can go out there and get. Or you could trade for a wide receiver. Now, we've explored the first two, I'd say relatively in full depth. Talked about many draft targets, talked about many signing targets. Why don't we explore the third option more in depth? Because we've gone through it in a couple of videos talking about a couple of players, but I don't think we've got a whole video kind of encompassing the entirety of the trade market right now for wide receivers and what could be available for the Chiefs for hopefully a low asking price. Let's start with the five guys that I have seen on the trading block, so to say. First one is Courtland Sutton. Looking for a new deal with the Broncos. Didn't report to voluntary workouts. Somebody that could very much be an option, although being with the Denver Broncos. Treylon Burks. I think he could actually be a very, very good option. The Titans and the Chiefs have already done business once this year, and Burks does not seem to be a part of the plan there in Tennessee. Brandon Aiyuk, we all know the drama going around that and whether or not he's on the trading block. He's not. He keeps posting weird stuff on Instagram and Twitter, and his family says stuff, but his agent says we're not on the trading block. It's just kind of weird. T. Higgins, we've mentioned him. Obviously, he's requested a trade, but will he actually be traded? And then Davante Adams, who, well, just continues to get screwed over there in Las Vegas with the poverty franchise Raiders. We can be realistic, though. Let's be honest. We can cut some of these guys out because there's two right there that I can see that just won't work for this reason or another. The first one is T. Higgins. Now, I want to start with this because he was at one of his events recently and spoke saying, I do anticipate it. I've grown a love for Cincy I didn't think I would. So he has very much come into this saying, I expect to play with the Cincinnati Bengals in 2024, which is interesting because he obviously got franchise tagged. I don't know if he exactly wanted that, and then it was proven that he didn't want that when he immediately was then, guess what, asking for a trade. No T's kind of sad. I'm not going to lie. I really wanted T. Higgins. He was the guy that I looked for literally on week one. Kadarius Toney dropped that pass, and I was like, bro, this is freaking stupid. So, unfortunately, though, it seems as though he's going to stay in Cincinnati. Pretty decent yards last year for playing in only 13 games, but it's not going to happen. So there's one off the list. Now with Davante Adams. I could see Courtland Sutton happening because he's on the Broncos. And though it's the AFC West, it's not the Raiders. With the Raiders, it's just not going to happen. Listen, I know Davante Adams is an amazing wide receiver, not taking away anything from that. However, the Raiders are your division rival. There is a very low probability of him being traded to the Chiefs. And yes, I know, there was a Chiefs and Raiders trade this past season. Neil Farrell Jr. sent to Kansas City. But Neil Farrell Jr. is not Davante Adams. There's a difference in skill position and a player of that caliber and how they are valued in between divisional trades. So I think that's the biggest thing. The good news about this is the fact that Davante Adams is on the trading block because he's not too happy with the situation in Las Vegas. Now, obviously, we can't be certain to that because reports are reports and we never know what's truly happening inside of the players' minds. But I don't know about you. When you get the quarterback that he came to play with, you get him out of there, that first of all made him upset. And then last year, the quarterback rotation of what they had was terrible. Jimmy Garoppolo did not play well. Aiden O'Connell, who did beat the Chiefs. I will give them that. However, he didn't complete a pass in the second, third, or fourth quarter, and it was really the defense that won the game and the Chiefs that lost the game, to be quite frank. So the fact that he's unhappy, maybe he could hop on out of there, and the only good player that the Raiders have left, to be quite frank, will be gone. Because guess what? Oh, Josh Jacobs, that's one good player. I mean, I know they got some guys on defense like Max Crosby, but offensively, that becomes real thin without Devontae Adams. So let's take those two out. Here's the three left: Courtland Sutton, Treylon Burks, and Brandon Aiyuk. I've talked about Sutton once before, and I know that there is some question about if the Broncos will actually trade them. I think that is more likely than Devontae Adams just because of the situation that they are in. Treylon Burks, I, again, really like that one. I feel like he could be actually a very viable option. Brandon Aiyuk, pricey, but would be amazing. So let's take all the extracurricular out of here. Let's just say you can pick for whoever. Who are you trading for? Doesn't matter about money, all that stuff. Let's just take all that stuff out. Who are you trading for? Courtland Sutton, type S. Treylon Burks, type B. Brandon Aiyuk, type A. Who are you trading for if money and other things were not in the picture? S for Sutton, B for Burks, A for Aiyuk. We've mentioned two of these. Now, we've talked about both Brandon Aiyuk and Courtland Sutton in previous videos very recently. I know they were seldomly, but we did talk about them. And so, I think we're going to talk about the other one on that list of three. Before that, though, make sure you're getting your Chiefs championship gear. I know that obviously as we get closer to the draft, there's going to be some more stuff. But hey, get the championship gear while you can, especially the Super Bowl hat, which honestly, again, I will say it, my favorite hat I own, 45% off. 45% off. Pretty dang good. Chatsports.com/SB hat. I know there's a couple of guys that I've already gotten from this link, and I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. Fits all types, plus the cream hat. It's a lost art. Champions across the front, and how good does it feel to walk around saying, hey, I'm a fan of the back-to-back Super Bowl champions? Guess what? In the past 2 decades, there's only 2 teams that can say that. The Chiefs and the Patriots. And the Patriots was 20 years ago. Pretty dang good. Go check it out, chatsports.com/SB hat for 45% off. Link will be in the comments and the description of this video. The failed first rounder of Treylon Burks. Man, this is an interesting story because obviously he was supposed to be the A.J. Brown replacement. He was picked at number 18 back in 2022 after the Eagles and Titans agreed to send A.J. Brown to Philadelphia and gave back that number 18 pick. Burks, though, just has never reached the potential of the first-round pick. Less than 700 yards. Average isn't bad at 13.6. But the big number I look at, you're a first-round pick with 22 games. You have 1 touchdown. That's just not great. And so we had a report about a possible trade being mentioned with Treylon Burks' name around it. And I think it's definitely something to check out and look at from a lot of different facets because it's something to keep your eye on. Cam Marino had it saying, seeing the Jets connected to trade rumors at the wide receiver position. I'm thinking Treylon Burks is in contention here. Now, again, this is an official report. It's not saying he is in contention or it was that way. However, it is something to look at and say, okay, well, obviously there's some validity behind it. Well, guess what? Then the Chiefs were listed as a possible destination from a bunch of different reports about the potential of Treylon Burks being on the trade market. Here are the 5 trade team candidates that we could see being in action for Treylon Burks. Chargers and Bills, as always. Diggs and Davis gone. Bills need 1 Chargers. They're just in freaking cap hell still, even with the way they got around it, so they could use it. Panthers trying to rebuild. Chiefs, obviously know their wide receiver situation. And then the Jets, as mentioned in that tweet. So what would a trade look like between the Chiefs and the Titans? Here's what I constructed. Treylon Burks to the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs in return send their 2024 round 3 pick, which would be number 95. I know what you're sitting here saying, Jace, would the Titans even accept this trade? I mean, that's a former first-round pick just 2 years removed. Why would they accept a 3rd-round pick? It's because he's been that bad. And with the signing of Calvin Ridley in Tennessee, the chance to draft another wide receiver this year, it kind of makes sense. And I know that people don't really respect PFF in some light, but I kind of do. And, well, they took it. You see down there in the bottom corner, this trade will likely be accepted. Wide receiver Treylon Burks for pick number 95. So you're not even getting a first-round pick. and you get a wide receiver. And here's my thought process behind this all. Let's say Rashee Rice is, or at least you have to think he's going to miss time. In that case, your first round pick is a wide receiver. Boom, right there. You got Hollywood Brown at wide receiver 1 and the first round draft pick at wide receiver 2. Then, probably going to go offensive tackle in round 2. But round 3, I almost bet you go into the wide receiver. So what's the difference in getting a guy who was a first round pick and you now put him with Patrick Mahomes? It's an interesting topic, and I know people have their opinions on Treylon Burks, and so let's have your opinions on this show. Would you accept this trade for Treylon Burks, the round 3 pick going to Tennessee? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Listen, I know he's a failed first-round pick, but he's still a first-round pick nonetheless. And we know the Titans and Chiefs have already done business this summer, or this offseason. They could definitely do it again. Y for yes if you'd accept this trade, N if you would not. I think I would take it. I'm being quite honest. I really do think that's not a bad deal. I would have liked for it to be round 4. I think that would be miles better. But I'm willing to do that because, again, we have seen countless amounts of times where this wide receiver who's at the end of his career or hasn't looked good has come in and played with Patrick Mahomes and boom, star. Same light, we can also admit, Kadarius Toney wasn't doing great but had star facets in New York, brought him to Kansas City, and it still kind of failed. But the Chiefs still like him. This reminds me of that scenario, a good portion, obviously a little bit different with the way this guy's gone because Burks has really just never shown flashes at all. He's just been not worth it. It's kind of crazy, but obviously with the draft coming up, crazier things have happened. All right, again, the bosses are really closely watching. They're always on my button, especially with the NFL draft this week. They are pretty uptight. So if you could help me out, hit that subscribe button. That way they can stay off me and I don't have to worry about it. Make me very happy and appreciative because it's going to be a stressful week. And any way possible I can make it less stressful, I would certainly appreciate that. We do thank you for watching here on the Chiefs Sport. And for now, we will see you later, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out.